Hey, I know, like, you know where I'm at, like, hey, Jeff, know I got you, brody. Look, hey, let's go, hey.
Wise.
Real life, real talk, never fall, we ain't doing that. Want me fall off, but I can't, I'm just too attached. I was so lost, I ain't going back. Never fall, never fall. We on the road, yeah, we on the road. Every day like the Olympics gon' go. Yeah. I'm in control, I thought you should know. Real life, real talk, never fall.
Hey guys, what's up? We're here, episode 1. I know I said I'd get this going a few weeks ago, but honestly, there's so much that goes into putting these together. I have a newfound respect for anybody who does it or has done it. And the truth is, it's still not quite presented how I want it to be in terms of how it sounds, how it looks. But honestly, I don't want to put it off any longer. There's too much information I want to share and things I want to talk about. So I figured let's just get it started. We can improve as we go, and progress is what it's all about. So basically, the point of today is to give you guys a rundown of my vision for this, basically how I plan on presenting it, and what I plan on doing with it. And then I'm going to get into the first episode. There's a subject I really want to talk about today. So basically, my plan for the podcast is, of course, there's going to be bodybuilding talk, there's going to be nutrition talk, training, supplements, over the counter, under the counter, but there's going to be so much more than that. That's just a small piece of it. Okay, there's enough podcasts already going on just talking about bodybuilding. And yes, that's going to be a part of it, like I said, but it's going to be more than that. So it's a big focal point of this is about leveling up. And I want anyone who tunes in to be able to level up in some way. That might be through education, through knowledge, through motivation, through mindset. Like there's going to be something that you can take away from it, whether it be from me or from people I have on the show. There's going to be episodes where it's just me talking to the camera like I am today. If something's in my head and I feel like I can talk about it and I want to talk about it, I'm going to do that. There's going to be times where I'll get a guest on. So that guest might be, it could be anyone from like a professional athlete, bodybuilding, boxing, MMA, whatever, some form of professional athlete. It might be someone who's not a professional athlete, but they're a very successful business person. They've got a very successful business, or they're, investing, or something that's interesting, and something that I feel like their story may help you, or may help your friend, or may help someone. Whether that be through picking up things they're learning from them and through things that they're saying, or whether it be just from them as a person in terms of how they present themselves and the mindset they have, it might inspire you. I don't know, but there's going to be something you can get from it. And there'll be times where it's me and a few guys or girls, and we'll be talking about, hot topics, answering questions, just chatting really. But yeah, like there'll be episodes where you might see the title, you might think, actually, you know what, that doesn't appeal to me, I don't want to listen. But then the next week there might be something that really catches your eye. So keep an eye on it. There's going to be something for everyone, and like I said, I want everyone to level up. So that brings me to topic 1, I guess, the first ever topic for the show, and it's something I have had to really learn myself, especially through recent times. Now, one thing I will say before I carry on is you'll never see me talk about a subject that I have no experience with or I don't understand. If that ever happens, I'll just get someone else on the show who does. I have no problem doing that. As I said, I want to be able to actually give you guys valuable information, not just I'm going to tell you everything, because you know what? There's enough people trying to do that already in this industry. And I believe it would be a very big disservice to you guys from myself if I was to add to that. So it's basically today, it's a saying. It's a very powerful saying if you understand it. And I want you to listen to the whole thing, because if you only listen to parts of it, it might sound a bit wrong. But it's basically the saying of deal with it. And what I mean by deal with it is there's going to come a time in your life where you're here and you want to be here. And your end goal may be different for everyone. For some, it might just be like a competition. For others, it might be a weight loss journey. For others, it might be a financial goal. It might be a position in the company they work for. It might be where they want their business to be. It might be how much money they want to make. It doesn't matter. Just the fact is that there's going to be a goal, right? There's where you are and there's where you want to be. Everyone should have goals. Now, on this journey, during this journey, there's going to be a lot of things that can happen along the way. Some big things, some small things. But basically, they're all going to be things that are there, and they have the power within them, if you let them, to stop you from achieving your goal. And look, sometimes they will stop you achieving your goal, and that's okay. I'll get to that as well. But basically, they can be big things and they can be small things. So For some people, a little tiny inconvenience will occur, and that'll be enough for them to be like, you know what, I can't handle this, I don't want it, and it's done. And all that probably means is that your goal wasn't actually that important to you. You could argue that, oh, your mindset was off, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, if your goal was really important, you would make it happen. You only got to think back to like back in the day where you think about your grandparents or your great grandparents, depending on how old you are, back in the day, like they would make $7 a week or whatever they would make. I don't know the exact numbers, but they will make their money. And with that money, that would pay for their food for the week for their family. It would pay for their roof over their head and basically their bills. They don't save money, right? So they have to make that money. Like it's not a question. They have to make it, or they don't have a place to live and they don't have food to eat. It's a pretty big goal, right? Like it's a short-term goal, but it's very important. Like the livelihood of your family relies on that goal coming off, so to speak. So regardless of what happens during the week, like they have to make that money, or there's no roof. Like regardless of how much stuff can happen, how much bad stuff can go wrong, they don't have a choice. And I really respect people from that time frame, because it was a time where things weren't just given to you on a silver spoon like they are today. For a lot of people take it for granted. They just get given shit all the time. And I'm so glad I never was, because I would hate to have that mindset. But anyway, where I'm going with this is, if a little thing happens and it throws your goal out the window, the goal just wasn't important. You weren't relying on, your $7 to feed your family for the week. Like it's just, there's levels to it. At the same time, say it's a competition and you're doing a competition, because a lot of you will be doing competitions. So say you're doing a competition and you go to the supermarket and they don't have the food you want, and then you go to another one and they don't have the food you want, or you go to the gym and all the machines that you want are taken. So you're just like, you know what, I'm going home. I don't want this anymore, blah, blah, blah. That's a minor, something minor that can throw you off. And that just means it wasn't important to you. Or, there's other examples. That's not the best example, but you get what I mean. And for other people, it will be a really important goal to them. So they'll just make it happen regardless of what happens. Like even the most extreme stuff can happen. They're still going to make it happen because they truly want it. They're not just doing it because they want to put a reel up on Instagram and put some motivational stuff behind it and get 100 likes. Like that's not their why. And I'm not belittling anyone for, if that is why you want to do it, that's fine. It's not about that. It's just about understanding why certain people are getting thrown off from achieving the things that they say they want to achieve. Now, moving on from that, let's get a little bit more extreme with it. There's going to be other goals, right? So someone's goal might be like, I want to make this much money between January and September so that I can buy this house or this car, or I need to make this much money because my partner or my parent needs a special treatment because they're really sick. And if I don't make this much money, they can't have that treatment and they can die. That's a very extreme example, but it's real. Like it happens. I know it happens firsthand. I know that happens. So when it's like that, those kind of examples, they're different examples, but let's just call them, I'm just trying to give you a bit of so more people can relate to it, because people are going to have different kind of goals. It doesn't matter on the severity of the goal. It just matters on how important it is to you. So for some people, those goals are going to be like, for some people, the financial stuff might be really important. That might be like their main focal point of the whole year. For other people, they might not care about that, but that's okay. Just think about it with an open mind. Now, between now and say September, like say September's our deadline, there can be some real heavy stuff that can happen, right? Like someone might lose their job and they might be the sole provider for their family. Now their family doesn't have money for food. They don't have money to pay their rent or their mortgage. They don't have somewhere to live. They have to like go and like, whatever. They don't have any to live now. That's a big thing. A loved one could get really sick. A loved one could pass away. Again, that's a really big thing. That's enough to throw you off. Now, I'm not here to be like, oh, no matter what happens, push through. Like, that's not the point of this. The point of this is if you want to get from here to here, regardless of what your goals are, regardless of what happens in between, you need to deal with these things if you want your goal to come off, regardless what the goal is and regardless of what happens here. You've got to find ways to deal with these things. And there will come a time where some real hard stuff's gonna kind of come up, and you have to get out of bed every day. You have to, like, you don't have a choice. You have to get out of bed and you have to do this. So tomorrow you can do this, and then the next day you can do this. And if you don't do those things, you're not going to get to where you want to be, because you didn't take the necessary steps. And those steps are going to be different for everyone, and the obstacles are going to be different for everyone. And the truth is, it's not fair. It's never fair. Life's not fair. Some people are going to have a much easier ride than others. And if you have a hard ride, I'm sorry, but you've just got to deal with it. Because if you don't do the necessary work between here and here, regardless of all this, it's not going to happen. Like, it's just fact. That's not my opinion. That's just fact. Like, there's steps you have to take. Let's even use a more realistic example, or like something that more people relate to. Let's talk about males and females trying to get shredded. Females and their hormones. There's so much more that goes on in a female body than a male's. So their process at times can be much harder than a male's. And you know what? Like, at the end of the day, it's not fair. But if you want to get in that shape that you want to get in, you're going to have to deal with that. And you might say, oh, that's rich coming from you. You're a male. You don't understand. Like, yeah, I am a male. I get it. And I know it's easier as a male. It's still not easy, but it's easier. And you know what? At the end of the day, you're just going to deal with it, because if you don't follow that process, you're not going to get to where you want to be. And that's a matter of fact. And yeah, like I said, there's going to come a time where your goal is really important to you, and something might happen, and it might be such a big life event that you just have to kind of slow down a little bit, because it's just too much to carry on at the rate you were going. And it might mean that end goal is pushed back a few months, and that's okay as well. Like, I'm not here to say you have to make shit happen. I'm just here to say that if you want it to happen, you've got to overcome. Regardless of what it is, you have to overcome it. And if your goal gets pushed back a bit, that's okay as well. Like, sometimes taking care of yourself and trying to just get on with the day-to-day livings of life can be enough in itself, to that. And that can be in some ways, that's a short-term goal as well. Like, let me just get through this part and then I can push forward again, or let me just push forward a little bit slower because I need to take care of a few things and I don't want to, it's a bit overwhelming. That's okay. But sometimes there might be a deadline, and when there's a deadline, unfortunately, if you slow down, you're not going to get to your goal. And at these points of time, like, if you want it to happen, you're just going to have to stick your chest out, put your socks up, and just get on with it. And there'll be times where you might be going through some real hard stuff, and people will be like, how are you doing this? Like, I don't understand how you can do it. Like, I respect it, blah, blah, blah. And the truth is, like, what choice do you have? I need to do this. I need to support my family. I need to achieve this for myself. I don't, like, you know what I mean? And because for a lot of people, I'm like this, goals and driving towards things is how people deal with shit as well. So you got to keep that in mind. Some people thrive off pushing themselves and improving. So that's all I'm trying to get at. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to be all hardcore and talk about anything that comes up, like, blah blah blah, never fold, whatever. It's not the point. The point is just getting it through to you guys that from point A to point B, there's going to be stuff happen that pops up in life. Some real traumatic shit can happen, and if you want to get to where you want to be, you're going to have to deal with these things. So that's episode 1, guys. I hope you took something from this. Like I said, there's going to be more episodes like this. I might even get into the next one of, like, maybe ways to get through those times, because some people, like, for myself especially, like, when I had to go through what I had to go through, I'm still going through it now, to be honest. It was all new to me. I didn't know. It was, you learn as you go for a lot of the time. And I feel like if people can give a little bit of insight, a little bit of just their own experiences, I feel like it can help other people. And it doesn't have to be the same experience, but you can relate to each other through hard times. So yeah, there's going to be more stuff like this. I'm new to this whole YouTube thing, so please give it a like. Please subscribe to the channel, help me grow it. I know it's gonna take a little bit of time, but obviously if we can fast track that, then that's awesome. And yeah, hope you enjoyed.
Real life, real talk, never fall, we ain't doing that. Want me fall off, but I can't, I'm just too attached. I was so lost, I ain't going back. Never fall, We on the road, yeah, we on the